Emotions are the thermometer of how we interact with the world. It really dictates, in many instances, how we are going to come back at that person who just talked to us. It dictates how we sleep. It dictates whether we are calm. It dictates whether we are animated. It dictates so much of our behavior. And it also has a profound impact on our metabolism. Hey, that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about emotions and how they impact what we do in terms of our health. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we are breaking free from the boundaries. We're breaking free from those shackles that prevent us from doing what we need to do to be healthy. We are presenting our best self. We're presenting our best health, and we're presenting our best plans for our life. We are living a limitless life. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to improve their metabolic health, get off of medications, and be healthy. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because I would love to welcome you with a hand clap and let you know that I'm happy that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments, drop those in the chat because we'd love to get to you and to say hello and answer those questions as we are going through this episode tonight. I see some of our community members that are already out there and saying hello. Glad that you are in this space. You guys know how we do what we do, because I've got right off to my side here, I've got my Dexcom Clarity Report, and I've got my monitors, which let's go ahead and let's hop over there. Let's take a look at that right now. I thought I was going to do that. But let's hop over and let's take a quick look at those. Let's see, here we are. Whatever platform you are on, I am glad that you are here and that you are hanging out with us. So whether you are on LinkedIn or TikTok, not TikTok, if you're on LinkedIn or if you are on Twitch or Instagram, on YouTube, and then of course right here on and Facebook, and of course right here on YouTube. Glad that you are here as well. And just to let you know that we are currently in our series 100-Day Walk to Consistency, my 100-Day Walk to Consistency, which is a way of giving you a structured way of exercising, if you will, of taking some time on a daily basis to be healthy. And so I want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to put yourself in that space. And let's see. Well, doesn't look like my monitor wants to come up. There we are. Okay. So right below me is what you'll see is here is my Dexcom Clarity Report, and then of course right off to the side I've got my Keto Mojo and my Contour. So we'll take a look at blood sugars here in just a minute. So let's hop over and let's say hello to some of our community members, because I do see you out there, and just wanted to say hello. I hope you guys had a great weekend. And let's see who we got. We got Jennifer. Jennifer's out there. Jennifer saying howdy all. Hi Jennifer, glad that you are that you've stopped by. Gion is saying hi. Gion is saying hi doctor. Pamela is out there. Hey Pamela, how are you? Happy to see you all. Hi Pam. Hi Gion. And then Cornelia is saying hello to everybody. Hello Pam, Dr. Pam, Jennifer, Gion. Very good. And then Pamela is saying hello back. Teresa, hey Teresa, how are you? Thanks for coming through. and hanging with us and being in this space. I see all of you out there. And Pam is saying, Teresa, Lucky So, hey, Dr. Wood, MD, good to see you. Good to see you as well. And hello, everyone. All right, all right. Got a good crowd with us. Good crowd with us tonight. And so let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars and actually, I think you were seeing all of those. Were you? Well, let's do this. Let's go back here. And let's start over. So Jennifer was saying hello. Jiyeon saying hi. Hi, doctor. Hello, Pam. Good to see you. Hi, Jiyeon and Jennifer. And then, of course, Cornelia saying hello to everyone. Pamela, Teresa, Jiyeon again. And then Lucky So is saying hi to everyone. There we go. All right. So I think we're caught up now because I don't think you were seeing that before. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at some blood sugars. Let's start there and then we'll kind of hop over. So here is right now my Libre. And the Libre is showing that my blood sugar is 108. You'll see earlier in the day, right, and you probably can't see my mouse, but we'll look at it when we get over to my Dexcom Clarity. We had a potluck at work today that we organized a couple weeks ago, and so we had, let's see, we had jerk chicken, we had jerk chicken pasta, we had fried chicken, we had green bean casserole, we had jalapeno cornbread, we had dessert. We had banana pudding, and we had what else? Someone made some sherbet, some protein ice cream sherbet, if you will. So anyway, so that was what we had, and you'll see right there, right in the middle of the day, you'll see that spike. Anyway, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the. And this is my my Dexcom, and you'll see similar numbers there over the last couple of last 12 hours. Okay, and then of course hopping over, here is my Keto Mojo, and here is my contour. So let's go ahead and take a look. And I am not fasting right now, so go ahead and drop into the comments. What do you think my ketones are going to be? Right. So remember, ketones less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then greater than 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So let's get rid of this here and let's just take a look. Let's see this one. Okay, there we go. So go ahead and open this up and pop that in, and then I'm going to go ahead and open this one as well, because if I don't, then I might have to end up sticking myself a couple of times. And I do have one. I have one last one. Do I have another one in there? So these are the Lancets I like because I really just screw the top off and find the finger, and if I get a good poke, a good stick, then I usually get a pretty good drop of blood. I think this is gonna do it. Actually, it didn't hurt as much, so I'll see. Yeah, so it's a little. Okay, let's try that again. I wasn't. Ow. There we go. As soon as I said that, as I was saying, I wasn't going straight down, right? I was going kind of parallel to the skin, and that doesn't hurt as much, but it doesn't give you the drop of blood that you need. Okay, that was a pretty brisk flow, so that worked well. Okay, so Keto Mojo gives me both ketones and blood sugar, 112, 112. Oh, look at that, both of them are the same thing. And if I pop this over, you'll see right here, 106. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to get another drop of blood. No, I got rid of it. Well, I think I may be able to get one more drop. Let's see. Did I do it quick enough? There we go. Yeah, there we go. I think my fingers keep slipping and I keep wiping the drop of blood. Let's see. Let's get that. Okay, so I got that started. All right, so go ahead and drop in what you think my ketones are going to be. And in the meantime, we're going to hop over and just start talking. All right. So we've talked over the last several weeks about metabolism. And what I presented was the limitless living inventory. So this was kind of the tool that we were using to assess where we are so that we can make decisions about what we need to improve, right? So limitless living inventory. And so the limitless inventory says that we will be looking at these various domains and deciding what do we need to do to make changes to be successful. Okay? Remember, limitless living says there's nothing outside of me, nothing inside of me that's going to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be successful. And so if that's the case, then I need to begin now assessing the things that are around me and things that are in me that could potentially cause a problem. Okay, and so that's limitless living. The limitless living inventory says I'm going to pinpoint these things, and then I'm going to start working on them. Remember, we went through, and you are taking each of the domains, and you're grading them 1 to 10. 1 being, oh, this needs a lot of work, and 10 being, okay, this is great. I don't have to do anything differently. Okay. And so then last week we talked about the domains, or 2 weeks ago we talked about the domains, and last week we came back and we specifically began talking about health, right? Physical health. We said that physical health was very important because the body, this body that we have, carries us into our life. It carries us into our success. So if we're going to be successful, we physically have to take care of the body. And so sleep, exercise, food, right, were some of the things that we talked about in terms of taking care of our physical body. So that's the physical. And tonight we're going to talk about the emotional, right? So what are those emotional things that we need to do? And when we talk about emotion, right, we want to understand, manage, and express our emotions. We want to understand, manage, and express our emotions. So today what we're doing is we're exploring that emotional health domain, right? So there are domains. We've talked about the physical. Tonight we're talking about the emotional domain in this episode. And so we're going to dive into understanding, managing, and expressing those emotions so that we can effectively cope. There it is. We can effectively cope with stress, build resilience, and nurture lasting emotional balance. Because if we can do that, then the things that happen that affects us downstream is improved. Okay? All right, and we'll come to that here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and let's set the stage. So our emotional health is really the cornerstone of our inner world. It influences how we react to stress, how we relate to other people, and ultimately how we live our lives. When we neglect that emotional part of ourselves, emotional well-being, if you will, then stress can become overwhelming, and our relationships may suffer, and our overall health can decline. So I want you to follow that progression, okay? So we said that disordered metabolism is our issue. And so we're looking now, what are the things that will push us towards disordered metabolism? One of the things that does that is us not being able to manage ourselves emotionally. And when we can't manage ourselves emotionally, guess what we do? That's right, that's that word called buffering. And buffering comes in lots of different flavors. One of the most important for us is that when we buffer, we eat. There it is. When we buffer, we eat. And we eat the things that are not conducive for our bodies to be functionally optimal to take us where we need to go. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about, well, what do we need to do? How do we understand our emotions? And where do those emotions come from? How do we manage those emotions? How do we manage our responses so that we don't get derailed? And how do we express that so that our feelings become a source of strength and not a barrier? So understanding, managing, and expressing. Okay? So think of emotions, think of your emotions, kind of like the thermostat in your mind. And it regulates your internal environment. And it's making sure that things stay balanced even when things around you are chaotic. Right? So it's the thermostat, and it's monitoring what's happening, and it's keeping you centered. Remember that word homeostasis that we talk about? Homeostasis means same, means normal, means back to where it was, right? Balanced is what that word essentially means. So our journey towards metabolic health and overall wellness is very, very important, and it is directly related to our emotional balance. And nurturing that is essential. Right? So that's why it is one of the most important domains. The physical, we've already talked about that. Right? That's what takes us, but the emotions, the emotional domain drives what we do and how we interact with the world and how we interact with food and behavior and our sleep and all the other things. Okay? So let's understand emotions. So emotions are really the signals, messages from our body and our mind telling us how we feel about a situation. So emotions are how we feel about a situation. What we feel dictates the emotion, and the emotion tells the rest of the body what to do. You've heard that phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, I want you to process that for a minute. Why do they say that? Why did they say that? They said that because there's an interesting concept that comes out of that. That our emotions are tied to not the things that people say, because you can say whatever you want. That thing that you said doesn't really hurt me until there is an emotion attached to it. So the emotions are the signals that send messages to our body about how, and it tells our mind how we feel about a certain situation. Does that make sense? And so those emotions can be positive, like being joyous, being grateful, or they can be negative, like anger, sadness, fear, anxiety. And so what we want to ask ourselves whenever an emotion is coming is we want to ask ourselves, what triggered my emotions? We'll come back because you'll see some familiar things here in just a minute. How do I typically react to stress? Are there recurring patterns that I need to address? Right? All those questions. But let's go back to my example. So sticks and stones, sticks and stones, sticks and stones. So somebody says something to you, and as the words come out of their mouth, the words have absolutely no meaning. They don't have form, they don't have shape, they don't have substance. Like the words can't come over and hit you over the head. But why does it hurt when we hear certain words from certain people? Because you have people in your lives that say certain things to you and it means nothing. It doesn't, you brush it off. It's like, okay, thank you. But then someone else says exactly the same thing and it hurts more. Why? because we've attached a particular meaning to the words coming from a particular person. Okay? And so ultimately the feelings, the emotions come as we interpret what we're seeing. We interpret what was said. We interpret what that means. And so where does that come from? It comes from how we were brought up. It comes from our past experiences. It comes from our successes, our failures. It comes from what our belief about the world around us is. And so all of that is tied into how we deal with a particular thing that happens, what interpretation, what meaning we give to that thing. And when we give meaning to it, the emotions follow, because now there is a feeling attached. So are there certain things that trigger us? Are there certain things that push us in a particular direction? And every time that thing happens, boom, here we are. We're off to the races. Right? So recognizing these patterns is the first step of managing the emotions. Sometimes our emotions are tied to, like I said, past experiences, unresolved issues, memories, people that we see. And over time, we've just begun responding, reacting, right? That happened, and automatically we respond in a certain way. That's a trigger. And there are times when we're not really responding to the moment, we're responding to the history of that thing, right? Somebody says to you, I really don't like that. I really don't like how you walk. And you like go crazy, right? You blow up. And people are like, wait a minute. Why did he respond that way? Why did she respond that way? Because it really wasn't that big a deal. It's because they're not responding. You're not responding to what just happened, what someone just said. You're responding to the fact that for all of your life, or sometime in your past, or some person of significance said something similar to you, and you're not responding right now because somebody said that to you now. You're responding to the history. And so it takes you right back there. That's a trigger. That's a trigger. And so our behaviors come directly from our response and our feelings about a thing that happens. Does that make sense? Yep. We're gonna come to some interesting things here in just a minute. Okay. So once you understand your emotional triggers, the next thing is to manage your response in a healthy way. Manage your response in a healthy way. And here is where, right, some things that you've seen before come in. Right? So this is the COPE model. You guys remember the COPE model? We clarify, we observe, we execute. So we pause, clarify, observe, we pause, and we execute. So clarify says identify the trigger and how your body is reacting, how it's responding. So understanding that what I'm doing right now, and we're talking about emotional health, right? Understanding that what I'm doing right now, or how I'm feeling right now, is not the end all and be all. It is not right now that I am hungry, for example. It's that someone said something to me, it triggered me, and now I am behaving in a way that's a direct response to my feeling about what that person said or did. Right? So we're clarifying. We understand that it's not that I'm hungry. We observe. Right? We are looking through a body. We're feeling through our body. Today I was doing one of our episodes for the 100-day walk to consistency. And I was talking about body scanning. And body scanning says that I am going to take a moment. I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to begin going through my body and seeing how my body is responding to something that just happened. Either somebody said something, somebody did something to me, a situation that I may find myself in. I may be depressed. I may be about the past. I'm anxious about the future. I'm worried about the present. How am I feeling that? Where is that in my body? Right? My head is hot, so I'm mad. I'm angry. Right? My brow is furrowed, and I'm confused. My shoulders are hunched and tense, and so I'm anxious. My stomach is churning. I feel like my muscles are aching, so I'm depressed. Maybe I'm feeling lonely. My body posture is pulled in. I'm sheltered. I'm covered. I'm curled. Where is that? What's that meaning? What is that doing? What has that feeling that I just felt? What does it cause me to do? And then I'm pausing. Because now I understand that it's not the food that I need. I feel where that is in my body, and I'm giving it a name. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm anxious. Whatever the phrase is, whatever the word is, that is indicated based on where I feel that in my body. So I'm pausing now, because normally I go directly to the refrigerator and get the ice cream. I go directly to the store and I get the donuts. I go directly down the candy aisle and I get the Cadbury. Or I go over to Sam's and I get the big jug of, not jug, but container of almonds and cashews or mixed nuts. But I'm pausing because when I pause, my amygdala has to give way to my prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is saying, I am taking over. I'm not allowing you to go down the road of the buffering behavior, because we know what the buffering behavior does. That's what the prefrontal cortex is saying. So I'm pausing. And because I've paused, because I've allowed my thinking brain to overtake my primitive brain, the survival brain, now I have the ability to execute something different than what I normally do. Because normally I'm in the refrigerator, my head is in there, I'm eating whatever I could find. Normally I'm getting in my car and I'm driving down to the gas station. Normally I'm ordering out and having the pizza delivered. Normally I go out to wherever I got my stash and I'm just shoveling down. That's what I normally do. But now, because I have clarified that the trigger happened, I've observed where it is in my body and I've named it. And I've paused to give my brain a chance to process and to find a different thing for me to do. And now I'm changing what I do. So the emotions. That is the COPE model. That is how we are able to deal with those things that come up, right? Because I'm going to tell you, and you understand, it's not always easy. But once you understand the emotional triggers, right, the next step is to begin working on managing your response. And that's that pause and execute, right? Managing it in a healthy way. And so here are some things that we can do. Some mindfulness and meditation. So in our armament, in our bag of tools, in our toolbox, we have mindfulness. So we need to practice mindfulness, which means I'm staying present. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. So I'm staying present, and I'm staying present, meaning that I am feeling the feelings that are right here. They're not always pleasant. Some of them are uncomfortable. But I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Because I know in order for me to deal with my emotions, in order for me to regulate my emotions, in order for me to not allow my emotions to derail my metabolism, I'm willing to stay in this moment right now and understand and feel. And when we practice mindfulness, it allows us to stay present and prevent us from becoming overwhelmed. Prevent our emotions from taking over. Prevent the prefrontal cortex. Prevent the amygdala from overshadowing the prefrontal cortex. This whole idea of amygdala hijacking, where the amygdala just responds or reacts because its job is to protect us. Meditation is another way of doing that. Meditation helps create space between the stimulus and the response. It creates space between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala so that the prefrontal cortex comes on. Well, not the prefrontal. It provides space between the stimulus, the feeling, the thing that happened, the trigger, and your reaction, and allows the prefrontal cortex to step in and choose to respond, react in a different way. Right? I give the example of you seeing a tiger, and the tiger is hungry, and it looks hungry, and the amygdala says, I gotta run. And you see the tiger and you start to run, but the prefrontal cortex jumps in and says, hey, yes, I do see the tiger, but guess what? The tiger is in a zoo. Same tiger that's hungry, same desire to run, but because the prefrontal cortex comes in, it says, you don't have to run because the tiger is in behind the bars. There's a different context now. So the prefrontal cortex allows the thought process to happen. And when the thought process happens, when the context changes, when we do a frame shift, then we understand that, yeah, we don't have to respond the way we normally respond. All right, so mindfulness and meditation. Breathing techniques. Simple breathing techniques, the 4-7-8. Right? Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it for 7 seconds. And then breathe out for 8 seconds. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it for 7 seconds. Breathe out for 8 seconds. Okay? So these are all techniques that allow you to calm yourself. Because what we're doing is we're trying to create space so that we're putting space between the trigger and the behavior, trigger and the buffering, trigger and what you normally do. Because if we can do that, then the prefrontal cortex gives us the ability to do some other things other than what we normally do. And this is where the importance comes in. Okay? So other things that you can do is back to physical, right? You can move. There's this thing that says move a muscle, change a thought. Move a muscle, change a thought. If we move, we can change our thoughts. For example, there are times when we're anxious. And if we pay attention, right? So clarify, observe. If we pay attention, if we observe, we will find that our fists are clenched. Or we're hunched over. All signs of anxiety. Or we're just kind of, right, nonchalant. So the posture, the position that our body is in can dictate our feeling and ultimately our response. So changing where you are, how you're sitting, right? Planting your feet on the ground, right? When you begin to have that feeling like the amygdala is taking over, right? Sometimes putting your feet flat on the ground helps you connect to something solid. It helps to connect you to something that's firm, the base. And that simple act sometimes will help to avert buffering. But get up and move. If you're sitting, stand. If you're standing, walk. All of that helps to change the mind, reducing the stress, and allows time for the prefrontal cortex to take over and for it to allow us to do the things we've got to do to be successful when it comes to our health. Right? So you want to find healthy outlets. So creative activities, drawing, writing, playing music. I recently, well, you guys have seen my bass in, you guys have seen my bass back there, right? So recently I got my amp back out and I'm sitting here and I'm practicing, okay? So this is one that I bought. We lived in Birmingham when I bought that one. And I'm not sure, when did we get this one? And this is a 5-string. And so at night I'm sitting here and I am going through this. Right? Because I'm living a limitless life. I'm not allowing things from outside or inside to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be successful. So whatever you have to do, if you write, write. If you sing, sing. If you play an instrument, play an instrument. If you want to play an instrument, grab something. Sometimes talking to a trusted friend or a counselor. Get that back over there. Trusted friend or counselor that provides support you may need. Right? So we are taking charge of our own health. We're taking charge of our emotions. Because this place right here, these emotions, they can get us all turned around if we're not careful. By taking some of these strategies, you create a toolkit to manage your emotions effectively, turning stress into opportunities for growth. Cope, clarify, observe, pause, execute. So what we're talking about emotions. We're talking about emotions. How do we manage emotions so that we can be successful metabolically? And why is that important? Because emotions, right? The heat model, emotions drive our food intake. Emotions drive our lack of sleep. Emotions drive our inability to exercise. Emotions drive our buffering behavior. And all of those affect our metabolism. Disordered metabolism is the problem. We buffer, we don't get rest, we stress. All of that happens, and the driving thing behind it is the emotion. And so if we can manage the emotion, right? So what we're talking about understanding emotions, managing the emotions, and we're coming to the expressing part in a minute. So understanding, you guys understand that emotions are the signals that tell us how we are understanding, how we feel about something. That feeling drives our behavior about something. And the behavior ultimately leads to what the conclusion is. And so understanding it, managing it with the COPE model, and then now let's talk a little bit about expressing our emotions. Expressing your emotion is just as important as managing it. When you bottle it up, that manifests as stress and physical symptoms. Oh, wait. Are you kidding me? That's right, physical symptoms. So when we bottle it up, when we keep it on the inside, it comes out in all kinds of crazy ways. Yep. Right? When we bottle it up, you're mad at your boss. You're mad at a coworker. And because you kept it in, because you feel like I can't say anything to them, you come home, you yell at the wife, you throw the dog outside, you're in a bad mood all night. When you could have said at the job, hey, man, I can I talk to you for a minute? I appreciate that, you didn't like such and such. But when you said that, this is what I got from it. Address it. But when you don't, it comes out in all kinds of crazy ways. It comes out. It comes out in stress, high blood pressure. It comes out in stress, heart attack. It comes out in stress, stroke. It comes out in stress, buffering behaviors, eating. Why are you eating 5? Why are you buying 18 Cadburys? You guys remember that episode? Why? What purpose is there? But it's buffering. When we keep it in, it comes out in all kinds of crazy ways. Healthy expression involves communication. So remember, limitless living says, I'm not allowing anything to deter me from doing what I need to do to be successful. And part of that is understanding that I cannot keep it on the inside. So sharing your feelings with someone you trust. We're talking about communication. Using I statements to express how you feel without blaming the other person. Communication. We have to learn to communicate. That's another obstacle that can be in our path that prevents us from doing what we need to do to be successful. So communication. Right? Learn how to communicate, how to express yourself. Creative expressions. So channel your emotions through art, through music, like we just talked about, through writing. Some of you would be amazing writers simply because you're sharing the stuff that's on the inside. Find what resonates with you. What helps you release and process your feelings? What is it? And when you find that, do it. Allow yourself to be in that space. So building resilience, building resilience means that every emotional challenge becomes a stepping stone. So what is emotional resilience? You guys remember what are those things called? The punching bags? You remember punching bags? Right? So let me get this out of the. Here we go. The punching bags, right? So it was I guess it wasn't called a punching bag. It was the little blow up doll, and it had sand at the bottom. And you get in there and you hit it, bam, and it would go down. and then pop back up, and you hit it again, bam, and it will go down, and then pop up, and you hit it again, bam, 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 and it's going to go doof, doof, doof. But guess what? Boom, here it comes. So when I think about resilience, that's actually what comes to my mind. Because resilience says that I will go down, I can go down, but I'm not staying down. It says that the things around me can affect me, but I'm not staying down. You can talk about me, you can hurt me, you can ostracize me, but I'm not staying down. Instead, resilience says that I'm using that as a way to pop back up. There was a gal that I met years ago, and my wife and I talk about her. And I always say that she was perhaps the most resilient person that I had met, because nothing seemed to bother her. And my wife says, yeah, that is true, right? So it was almost like a duck, and you're pouring water on the duck, and it just rolls off the back. That was this gal. And it didn't matter what was going on. She was just resilient. And you know some people like that in your life, or you've seen them. It's like they're floating through life. Now, I'm not going to say they don't have problems. Yeah, everybody has some issues. But they seem to not be bogged down. They seem to be resilient. They pop back up. They pop back up. Pop back up. They pop back up. Things knock them down and they're back up again. And it's never about falling, right? Because we all will have moments. We all will have times when we fall. We all will have those moments when it didn't quite go the way we thought. We didn't quite have that experience. Our relationship is not quite the way it should be. Our weight is not where it should be. My blood sugar is not where it should be. My job is not where I should be. My health, there are some things I've done in my past that now are coming back in my life that's causing me problems. There are all those things that happen. But resilience says that I'm not allowing that to affect me because I'm popping back up. It's about bouncing back each time. And in fact, there's a, and I'm blanking on the cartoon now. There's a cartoon with that same the little pop-up man, and the character in the cartoon would hit it, and it would go down, and they would come up and come up stronger, and hit them, and they bang it, and they go down and come up, bam. Can you imagine what your life would be like if when that thing hits you, you come back with the same or even more resilience, more force to say, no, I'm not allowing this to affect me in that way. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. What's one strategy from today's episode that you're excited to try? Right? What's one strategy? You can post it in the chat. Of course, you can post it in the community. But I'd love to hear that. Emotional health is a journey, and every step that you take brings you that much closer to a life of balance, life of resilience, and a life of empowerment. So nurturing our inner world, right? That emotion. Remember, the emotion is the thermostat for our inner world. Nurturing the inner world lays the foundation for all other aspects of health. just like the body is the physical thing that carries us, the emotional health, the mental part of us, is the thing that allows us to interact with all areas of life in a healthy way. And if we can do that, then we can right the metabolism. If we don't do that, then the metabolism is always at the beck and call. It always is at the mercy of the emotions. You remember or you may have heard people say that you're only as strong as the weakest link. We cannot let the emotions be the weak link, because it drives us, it pushes us. And when it does that, we get pushed into disordered metabolism. And as we know, metabolism, disordered metabolism, metabolism that is out of focus, metabolism that is off balance, is the thing that drives our metabolic diseases and drives our disordered health. And so our limitless living inventory helps us go down the path to say, what do I need to do? What do I need to look at? And this is one of the pillars, one of the domains of health. And so this mini-series that we're talking about, right, the domains of health, we'll come back and we'll talk about more, because remember, what we're doing is we're looking at what are all those places where we can be successful. How do we set ourselves up for success? And the domains of health come directly from and are integrated with and are explained by the limitless inventory. Limitless living inventory. Okay. But we'll come back. We'll do more, right? So this mini-series, I'm glad that we are able to do this. We'll walk through that all together. Now remember, today we're talking about emotional health. Last time we talked about our physical, the physical domain. We'll come back and talk about others as we continue this amazing series, this mini-series that we're doing in our limitless living journey. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's see what we got out there. We've got some community members. Let's see, what do we have? So Lucky back was saying hello. Teresa was saying hello, of course. Steve, hey Steve. Steve saying hey ladies. And Yasmin, actor, hey, check. She says check your Gmail. Jiyon says hi. Steve, Pamela saying hello. Cornelia saying hi, Steve. Teresa saying hi. Oh, Gianna is saying that she thinks my ketones are going to be 0.3, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. Teresa says 0.2. Jennifer says 0.2. And Steve says 0.1. Man, Steve, we went all the way down, huh? Cornelia says, I want to thank the community member that recently reminded us that to like the videos. I think it was Teresa. Yes, thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Cornelia. I appreciate that. It does help with the channel and algorithm and all of that. She said, I find the content so engaging and motivating, I forget sometimes, especially these live videos. So thank you. And Cornelia says 0.5. Gion says, staying present is so critical. Gion says, wow, doctor, great base. Yes. Thank you. Gion says, punching back. I got it. Okay. Yes. I need to find one of those. I think I'm going to find if I have a little cartoon or a little animation of that, and I can show that whenever we talk about that. Gion says, I practice flow in life and know my emotional trigger. Very good. Emotional triggers are very, very important to know those. Cornelia says, to execute by making decisions that increase the vitality of my life as opposed to decisions that destroy it. Cornelia, I like that. I'm gonna steal that. I like that, Cornelia. Thank you. And then Gion says emotional health is so important, I think. Yes, yes, definitely. Very important. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at let's do blood sugar. Let me do my report, and then we'll come and we'll take a look at the monitor. So here we are, and so you'll see there that according to this, my average blood sugar is 158 with a glucose management indicator of 7.1. Okay, and those are, as we've talked about before, we're going to see what my actual A1C is here coming up in maybe a couple weeks. I am in target 70% of the time. That's 70 to 180 is the target. And this GMI, glucose management indicator, is a surrogate, an estimate, if you will, of what my A1C would be if I got my blood work drawn. And so we're going to get that here in actually is it another week maybe? Because I think my appointment is in a couple of weeks, so probably this week. If I got to look at my calendar. But within the next few weeks, we'll be able to take a look at that. And then my average 158. If I look at my daily graphs, you'll see here, and so here is what the last day has been, right? And then into Sunday, and today. And so we're gonna start our fast tomorrow, probably around 4 o'clock, right? And so on Wednesday, going forward, about 4 o'clock is going to be our 24 hours. I'm trying to start those a little earlier so that when we do the show, that I'm actually fully in a 24-hour period. In the past, we've done a little later, and so when we do the show, we're like 18, 20 hours. But we'll see, right? It depends on how the day goes. Okay? All right. And then right now, my blood sugar is 102 according to my Libre. And what I want to do is go ahead and pull up my Keto Mojo app. Let's see. Let's get that up. And go ahead and grab. So here's my Keto Mojo meter. So let's go ahead and turn that on. Go ahead and get that synced. And we had several guesses. I think we had a 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, 0.2, 0.1 is what we have so far. So drum roll, please, drum roll. And so blood sugar of 112. And let's see, who won? I think it was Steve. Yeah, Steve said 0.1. 0.1 ketones. Remember, when we talk about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then greater than 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So we want, when we're looking at blood sugar, when we're looking at ketones, in terms of all the things we talk about, in terms of being in ketosis, autophagy, when we're fasting, we want to be in ketosis. For those of you who are eating ketogenic diets, all of those, we want ketones that are 0.5 or higher. Okay, 0.5 or higher. And so that's what you see there. If I look at the actual graphs, let's see. If I look at the actual graphs, you'll see, so the turquoise line, those are ketones. And the tan line, those are blood sugars. And you'll see as the blood sugar has gone up, so we started down here from 74 and got up to 111. And then, of course, here we are at 112. So as the blood sugar has gone up, the ketones actually went down. So ketones, look at that up here. Ketones are 1.9, and then they've dropped down to where we are right now at 0.1. So ketones and glucose, so ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. So if you have high blood sugars, then the body produces insulin to combat that. And when the insulin goes up, the ketones, of course, go down. So that's why you see on the screen, the ketones, the blood sugar went up, that tan line, and when the tan line went up, the ketones actually dropped. Okay, and that's what you're seeing there. And we'll come back and we'll do more looking at ketones, looking at glucose, looking at my monitors and my report as we get further into this week, as we do our fast. Everything that we do, I want to remind you, is based on our Triple E formula for success that says we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcasts. We want to change your mindset. We want to provide a perspective of looking at something. If we are going to make changes, if we're going to be successful, then the place that it begins is in the real estate between our ears. Most of the things that we suffer with, most of the challenges, the battles that we fight, it's not out there. Most of the battles that we fight is right here. And it begins here. And so educate. We educate. Every time we're educating, what we're doing is we're providing an understanding of a concept. We're providing a way of thinking of something. We're providing a perspective. We're talking about going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, a mindset that says that I can't do anything. I can't get better. I can't improve. What I have is all I have and all I can get. We're going from that mindset, which is fixed, to a mindset that is a growth mindset that says, no, I can improve. I can learn. I can move from where I am. I can be better. A growth mindset. We educate. We empower. We empower with all the tools that we're learning, with the domains that we just went through, the limitless living inventory, fasting when we do our shows, and we're learning about fasting, balanced bites. All of those are tools. The COPE model, right? The COPE model. Let's hop back over here. The COPE model, right? That says, hey, we can understand how to prevent the amygdala from hijacking everything, and we can be better. All of those are tools that we're learning and tools that are in our toolbox. And then we encourage, and encouragement comes from this amazing community that you are part of, that's supportive, this community that helps us along the way. Because when we tell our stories, when you share what's going on with you, that other people in the community know that they can do it as well. If you're having challenges, we get to rally around you and we get to say, hey, we're not letting you go down this road by yourself. Because we're a community. Community is so, so, so important. And one of the things to understand is that we worry about a lot of things. And 91.4% of all the things that we worry about never come true. They never happen. And so think about the energy that we waste as we're processing, as we're thinking, as we resonate, as we perseverate, as we play that thing over and over and over in our minds. And often those very things that are in the mind, the very things that we worry about, that we stress about, that we're depressed about, things that we're anxious about, many of those things are what push us. As we just talked about for emotions, those are things that push us in the direction of buffering. And so we want to understand that. And we want to begin putting the tools that we're learning in place to help us not have to worry about all of these 91.4% of things that don't come true. We will be back later this week as we do our check-ins and we do get into our fasting. On Saturday, we will have a video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. And then on Sunday, This Week in Review. And then next week, we'll be right back here in the saddle as we continue our trek, our journey into limitless living as we do this mini-series on the domains of health. Make sure you join us right here on Dwain Woode MD Live. As I always say, I am excited when I get to spend some time with you. I'm excited to be in the space. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And this year, we're not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're not allowing anything to prevent us from expanding. We're presenting our best self. We're presenting our best health, and we're presenting our best plans for our life, because we're living a limitless life. Limitless living says, nothing inside of me and nothing outside of me is going to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be successful. Make sure you join us. If you are one of our community members, go over to the community tab, and you should find the, in just a minute, you should find the link there for our after the show. Look forward to seeing you over there. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you at our next show. Good night.